So our next section of parasites is going to involve protozoans and rickettsia. You can find these parasites in chapter 47 of your textbook. The first protozoans we're going to go through are Cytoisospora and Dimeria, Cryptosporidium parvum, Toxoplasma gondii, Cytozoan felis, Babesia, Plasmodium, Tritrichomonas foetus, and Giardia lamblia. The two rickettsia parasites we'll be going through are Anaplasma and Ehrlichia. So let's get started with protozoans first. So there are many different types of protozoans. Protozoan parasites can have flagella that help them move around, or cilia, as you can see in this bottom picture, that also help them move around in the site of the body that they are infecting. So we call them flagellates and ciliates. Now we also have a type of protozoa known as amoeba and also coccidians. So the two main ones that we're going to be learning about are the flagellates and the coccidians. Now protozoans, compared to other parasites we've gone through so far, like the trematodes, the cestodes, and the nematodes, the main difference is going to be in the reproduction and the life stages of these parasites. So for protozoans, in terms of reproduction, there are no adult, larva, or eggs as life stages. The eggs that we do see in the feces are referred to as oocysts, and there can be either sexual and or asexual reproduction for each of these parasites. So some terms that we refer to in terms of asexual reproduction, also known as schizogeny, would be budding. So yeasts will bud, and that's a form of asexual reproduction, as well as binary fission. And our protozoan flagellates are going to undergo binary fission, such as Giardia. So we have a picture of Giardia up here in the top picture, and it is undergoing binary fission. So it's kind of splitting in half in order to replicate. And so down here in the bottom picture, we have the Giardia parasite inside of a cyst. When it gets inside of the body, it's going to adhere to the intestine, and then it starts to replicate by splitting in half and creating more and more Giardia parasites that way. Now there's also the potential for sexual reproduction for protozoans, and we refer to terms such as conjugation and syngamy or gametogeny as forms of sexual reproduction in protozoans. Now, in terms of the life cycle, there are many different terms that you're going to come across in the life cycles of the protozoan parasites, and you'll notice they are completely different from nematodes and cestodes and trematodes. So, I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm going to let you pause this lecture and perhaps write these down for your own information. But the trophozoite, we've mentioned this before, the trophozoite we will usually see in direct smears. It's the active feeding stage of a protozoan. Merozoites, schizonts, these refer to asexual forms of reproduction. A schizont is a large cell that is undergoing schizogeny or asexual reproduction and contains merozoites, which is this term just above schizont. Now when we talk about gametes, we're talking about gametocytes, and these gametes can fuse to one another and become a zygote. So with gametes, we're talking about sexual reproduction. And you can look down through these other ones here as well. Sporozoites inside of an oocyst, bradyzoites and tachyzoites. These are different stages involving coccidians. Bradyzoites will multiply or replicate slowly inside of a cyst, whereas tachyzoites will divide rapidly and can actually cause a lot of problems in the host because they are dividing so rapidly. So this is just to get you started for our intro into protozoans. So we'll get started with protozoans 1 through 4.